One of the hardest parts of visiting my mother on my birthday is knowing that I'm a lot older than she is. Time doesn't quite work normally for me, but she's still my mother and it's still good to visit her. I only get to see her a few days a year, and my birthday is one of those days, and that day is today. So when I go to visit her, I'm careful to make sure that I appear outside her home and not inside of her home. For most people, you appear inside their home or where you are needed most. Sometimes it's easiest to be at a crossroads. Sometimes it's easier to be beneath a bed. And sometimes it's easier to be inside someone's heart. But for visiting my mother, I can't visit her like a goddess. I have to visit her like I'm her daughter. So I appear outside her home. I'm careful to make sure that it is an hour that she should be awake. I only get the one day with her, so I want to spend the entire day, but she's still human, and humans are just so fragile and so tired. So, once it is exactly 8 a.m., I knock 3 times at her door. Knock, knock, knock. There's a moment of quiet before she opens the door. As she opens the door, I can see my mother again. Every year, she appears a little different. Her heart grows stronger, her smiles turn warmer, and her joy just grows ever so much. Moments like that, I can see why a human like her, may be a mother to someone like me. "Oh, it's you, Adansi. It's good to see you," she says before she embraces me, pulling me inside as she carries me. She doesn't need to do that. I can walk easily. I can float easily. I could teleport just as easily. But I don't get the chance to be like this very often. So, brought into her home, I see that she has left gifts for me. I already know what the gifts were. I knew what the gifts were before she ever knew what those gifts were. I knew what those gifts were before she was ever born. I knew what those gifts were before anyone had even conceived of the idea of these gifts. But I'm just as surprised every single time that she knows me so well. I see a little jackalope stuffy. I see a sculpture that lights up when it's touched. I see a poem written from the heart and with no pain inside of it. I even see that she gave me a gift from Dragon, my grandmother. Now that it's good to see her, we have breakfast together. It's enjoyable to eat like a person. Most of the time, I don't really eat the way people do. I can go years or even centuries without eating before I realize I haven't eaten. But around my mother, she makes sure that I eat at least 3 times a day like a normal person. Sometimes she'll even give me snacks. So we have a pretty gentle meal of pancakes, syrup, and of course we sit together and watch on some cartoons together. Cartoons that weren't from my olden days because, again, I'm older than the concept of cartoons, but brand new ones, those that may be considered cutting edge to many others, and may be strange to others still. But my mother cares enough about me to try to show me something she thinks I would care about. It's nice to be considered that way. One of the hardest things about living my life the way I do now is that I don't know how to be human, and I have to be reminded every so often. It's easy to just forget how I see myself and to think about how others see me. That they either see me as this immortal goddess that is above all things, the one who has created Lockhart, the girl who fell down the rabbit hole, the one who decided the world was unfair and decided to make it so. But as great as these titles are, that isn't seeing me as a person so much as it is seeing me as something above them, someone above them, something that they can't understand or ever relate to. And it is tiring to see people go mad when you speak. It is tiring to give a glance towards someone and know that they will spend the rest of their life until their dying breath praising you just because you looked their way. It is hard to be that way. And it's also hard when someone sees me and they don't know who I am. Then they just see this little girl who wanders. They see the hat, they see the dress, they see the little tricks I do, and they think I'm just lost. They think I'm someone who needs to be found and who needs to be guided home. They usually learn very quickly that I'm not what they think I am. But with my mother, I don't have to be a lost child. I don't have to be a goddess. I can just speak with her. I can just speak with her like I would with, well, I guess her. I can talk about the things I've done. She doesn't really understand what it is to hold stars in her hand. She doesn't know what it's like to look towards someone and see their birth and death just as easily as you see them in that moment. But she listens. And I think in some way she does understand. I think she also understands that I don't have to be that way. Because sometimes we will just talk about painting. We will talk about sculpting. She will talk about the time that she made some pottery with Dragon and how they tried new things. She talks about new movies she's excited to see. She talks about the things she has done and the stories that she tells. She tells me about all the stories she knows, and for a moment I can see the burden she holds. And when a moment like that happens, I can see a piece of myself inside of her too. I can see someone who bears the strength of seeing so many things and who decides to keep moving. I can see someone who has decided to see the gates of hell and decide to make heaven. I can see someone who once sat at the banquet table of the Fae and walked away free. I can see someone who once stood before entire crowds, entire cities, entire civilizations, and used her voice to disarm them with just a single sentence. But even as I can see all these things, it doesn't mean she's done them just yet. And that's the other hard part of being the way that I am. My mother is younger than I am, even if she doesn't look it. And even though I have visited her so often, I am not yet born. My mother knows that she will give birth to me someday. She even knows the exact date, but it hasn't happened yet. But still, I visit her every year. I visited my mother when she was still in the cradle and held within Dragon's arms. I visited my mother when she was a lost toddler trying to cross the street for the first time. I visited my mother the first time she ever went to school, and she needed a friend to stand with her. I visited my mother the first time she realized that she was different from so many of the others. I was there with my mother and she went through the darkest times of her life, and she needed someone to be with her while she was in despair. I was there with my mother when she finally found happiness again. I was there with my mother when she experienced her first heartbreak, and I will be there when she experiences her last heartbreak. I think my mother knows that I have been there for her many times, even if she has never seen me. But I don't know if she even understands what it is to be like the way I am. It is strange to sit with my mother, just watching cartoons and seeing things yet to pass. I can see my mother with blood on her hands, her own blood, as she desperately tries to keep living and keep fighting. I can see my mother singing to me one last time, reassuring me that everything is going to be okay, even though we both know that is going to be a lie. I can see my mother looking at the stars one last time and wondering who it is that will carry her to the next side. I can see my mother walking the bridge of trials, and I can see everyone who wished both to carry her across and everyone who wishes to bring her down. I can see my mother's past, present, and future, but in this moment, even though I am looking back at this moment and I am looking towards this moment, I am also living in this moment. When I feel like it's going to be sad to know that her life will end and to know that there will be a day when I can visit her no longer, I still sit with my mother. I still talk with her about her day, and I talk to her about mine. Why do I talk about such mundane things, even though I know the pain of loss is going to bring? Because as strong as that loss is going to be, in this moment that I have with her, there is no loss. I know that I will have time with her, and I will spend that time with her with love and care. I will tell her all the things I wish to tell her. I will know the things that I refuse to tell her will never be told to her. I know the time that she will die, but she will never hear it from me. Even if she does ever learn that hour, it will not be because of me. Even if I know the moments where she lies to me, not because she's trying to, but because those promises won't be kept, I will not tell her that. Even when she feels alone and she feels like the future that will come to pass will never come to pass, I know that it will, but I will still be with her. Because even as kind as my mother is, and as human as she is, I know that I love her very much, and I know that in her own human and frail way, she loves me too.